I don't know how much value I have in this universe, but I do know that I made a few people happier than they would have been without me. And as long as I know that, I'm as rich as I ever need to be.
Hey kid, what time is it?
It's time to refresh.
Back once again with another podcast. I don't know what episode number we're on now, but we're just rolling with it.
I've known it like 78. Or something.
No, we're in the 80s, I know that. Returning guest again, back by popular demand. The boy Raver. Honestly, mate, I loved the last episode that we did. I've got a lot of messages off people within the scene saying, I'm glad you got Shaun on, because you're not directly involved in the bouncing, because you cover so much that like because you're well known for your old school, you're well known for your house music, and as I say, you do your bounce stuff as well, which I do want to get into. I think people were buzzing when they're seeing it. It's like, oh yes, let's get into this story, because you've got a bit of you've got a long history in doing so much different things. You've done promotion, you've done your DJing production, you've travelled, and radio host as well. You've done that.
Yep.
We're going to get into all of that. So we finished up. You corrected me on this. We finished up your story in about 2003 last time.
Yeah.
So before we get into all that, I want to ask you, what did you have for tea last night?
I knew that was going to be your first question. And me and my partner, Lisa,
Who's present right now? Not in shot.
With us now. We went to. We didn't have tea, but we had a late sort of lunch, and we went to a fantastic Michelin star restaurant in Selby Bridge, which is Selby Bridge is where they filmed Happy Valley.
Is it?
Yes.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
There we go.
It's basically there. It's a place called Engine.
Right.
And it's absolutely amazing, but it's like when I say like it's Michelin star, it's not Michelin star prices, and it's like it's kind of like a modern take on tapas.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. So basically, like I didn't even need a tea after that. Although technically, I brought on 2 vegetarian pizzas last night as well. So.
Well, you beat it around the bush. What was it you actually had then?
Right. Oh bloody hell! Right. Kind of like this cauliflower balls. It's the only way I can describe them.
Yes.
Potatoes, bravas. We had these parmesan chips. They're not actually chips. They're kind of like kind of like soft potatoes.
Yeah.
That are covered in parmesan and stuff like that. We had. I can't remember what else was on there, but we love it. Like we had heritage carrots and like a meal around that, and I loved it. Absolutely amazing.
As far as what did you have for tea last night questions goes, I think that's the most interesting answer we've had yet in the whole time. It's usually fish and chips. Do you know what I mean? You give me a thing. I'm slightly jealous. As I say, 2 days ago I told you off camera. My wife gave birth to our second child, so yesterday I went to the hospital at 8 in the morning. She's still in there, and I was there until kicking out time about 8 at night.
Yeah.
So I had a cheese toastie from the canteen. Jesus! I had a cheese toastie from the canteen, and I had a Costa coffee.
So I'll just turn this keyboard off.
No worries.
1 second before I hit it again. Go.
I'm genuinely jealous because I mean, and then my little lad came in and he goes, "Oh, I've been to McDonald's as well." So I was like, "Yeah, I couldn't even have a McDonald's." Do you know what I mean? It's not like.
Do you know what the mad thing is around here? You can't actually get a McDonald's.
I can believe that.
I'm in the middle of nowhere. In a village called Ripponden, which is part of Selby Bridge, and your nearest is 6 miles away.
Right, I drove down here today.
You can't even go on Just Eat or Uber
and
Eats.
It's beautiful, by the way. Like I rang my missus before and said, "I'm just going to go and do this podcast now," and basically just said, "Listen, I could retire here." Like it's like the architecture and everything's really nice, isn't it? It's
everything's lovely. Everything is absolutely lovely round here. Like I said, you wake up, smell the fresh air.
Yeah. Only downside is
when it comes to like takeaways, and when you need essentials past 10 o'clock, you're knackered. Pretty much.
To be honest, where I'm from, mate, you can't get anything past 10 o'clock anyway.
Well, you're from Cumbria, aren't you?
That's the problem.
Basically, like I know Cumbria reasonably well, and like I said, again, I think I've name checked her quite a bit in interviews. Nicola Fowler, who was one of the first people that bought the Boy Raver album there. She was the actual first person to buy Boy Raver, and like she tells me about Ulverston.
Yeah.
In Cumbria.
See, in Ulverston, I don't quote me on this, but I can almost guarantee you it's a place where if you try and go out after 10 o'clock, you won't get to a supermarket. There's nothing open at all. Yeah.
Absolutely nothing anywhere.
So you need to be prepared if you see a lot of people who like will have a drink in the house and they're with the mates and stuff, and it's like there's nowhere to buy a drink. Do you know what I mean? So it's like they're waiting until like 10 o'clock the next morning to be able to go and get beers again. But so I want to get straight back into it if that's all right.
Fine.
Question from the last guest, who was Kenny Hayes, who you said, yeah. So he just wants to ask you this question for Shaun. What's your biggest achievement as a producer?
Bloody hell! The last track I made.
What was that?
Because you're only as good as the last track you made.
I get that. Yeah.
Hang on. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's bang it on. Probably this, which is it's actually the session's up there. I've got a master on it now, but it is. Hang on. Let's go into my drive. Jump in the Line.
Jump in the Line. What's that?
It's a rework of a Harry Belafonte track.
Old school, proper old
basically,
school.
I've managed to sort of get like a semi-master on this now, and I'm like, anyway, like I said, I like stuff that's just really quirky. I like making quirky stuff. I don't see the point in making stuff that isn't sort of like weird or quirky or different.
So I got your USB about, I don't know, it must have been about 18 months ago now. And I was going through some of the tunes on it, and I was just like, some of your choices of remixes are very like obscure. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm sure I heard like a remix of. I could be wrong. Did you do Waterboys?
Hole of the Moon. I did Hole of the Moon.
Yeah, it's a very obscure club track to do. Do you know what I mean? To make into a club track.
Well, what I tried to do with Hole of the Moon, and I mean there's a very sentimental story behind me doing Water of the Moon, Hole of the Moon, and it involves basically my partner Lisa's dad's favourite track. I started working on it, and
of all the tunes I could have picked that one.
Yeah, but Hole of the Moon, I tried to make it a bit. I had another track in mind when I did it, which was Tarja Savel's version of "Sympathy for the Devil." I tried to make it a bit like a stand-up clap sort of thing, but I just thought I'd make it a little bit different, kind of like a Dennis Ferrer sort of tip, because I just reference classic dance music all the time.
What would you say is the most obscure record that you've done then, in your opinion?
Tom Jones, Looking Out My Window.
I don't even know that tune, to be honest with you. I genuinely don't. I'm not a massive Tom Jones fan, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But what was obscure, would you say, about it? Is it just because of the choice of song of the original? Or?
Yeah, it's just. Do you know where it comes from? When I was sort of like growing up, there was this great DJ mix called The Document by Andy Smith, and he mixes in Tom Jones because there's a big break in that, like a break beat that comes in about a minute and a half in there, and that's why it became a cult record. And I've always liked the record. I think it's a fantastic track.
I'll have to check that out.
And that's why I chose to do it. I thought I'll put my own stamp on it. It's from an EP that I'm probably going to reissue, actually, now you brought it up, called The Old Rave Whistle Test, which is a take on the old grey whistle test.
I get that, yeah.
Basically, like, I've done a remix of Elvis Presley, Suspicious Minds,
class,
as Boy Raver, and I've done Tom Jones, I think I've done The Who, and what's it? Don't cry, don't rage. I can't remember. Barbara O'Reilly.
Yeah, Barbara O'Reilly.
Yeah, that one.
I love the chords in that.
It's
honestly, iconic.
That, I mean, I'd say somebody that you need to speak to is Steve Gorton from Awesome 3, because he owns all the analog synths that the Who used to have. Like I said, like the arpeggiator in that. Yeah. Wow, just honestly, it's just amazing.
Another fun fact: I'm an official member of the Elvis Presley fan club.
I love Elvis. I absolutely love Elvis.
I do,
and I love cheeseburgers. So
it's sad, isn't it?
And sitting on toilets and hoping I don't die.
Yeah,
So
it's great, isn't it? Legend in his own time, pioneer as well. I think as well.
I love Elvis for so many reasons.
Yeah,
but yeah.
So I want to get into this as well. This whole studio that you just said, right, I'm going to build a studio, and then that's it. That's
Well, this came up randomly. What happened is I started selling records for an old doorman from Darley Lounge. Right, and it didn't work out that well. But at the time, I thought, Jesus, I'm going to have to house a shitload of records. And Stu's got the barbers upstairs. Mm-hmm. And I said to Stu, can I take on downstairs, and you know what I mean, like, can I sublet, or not sublet, but sort of like can I come and sort of like get involved? And I'd already been barbering upstairs really with Stu, and that didn't work out. And then I thought, sod it, this room is just like a perfect studio size, and it reminds me a lot of Lee Monteverdi's room in All Around the World when it was at Reedy's in Blackburn. And
nice setup they had there as well.
I love going into Reedy's and going upstairs, and I preferred it when you got a track signed and you walk downstairs and you had a check in your hand and you're like, which one?
Yeah. But which one was his room? So you go in.
Right, basically you go in, Kenny's was on the right.
Yeah.
You come upstairs, Kenny's on the right. Yeah. Lee Monteverdi's in the middle, the main office.
The middle, right, okay.
Yeah, with Joe and Fiona and Matt and Chris was in the main, in there. And I'll tell you, I'm absolutely serious, right? I've caught certain producers halfway up the stairs listening to Kenny and Lee and what they're doing. I'm absolutely seriously.
Yeah.
And I can't name.
Yeah, that's fine.
You can probably guess.
Inspiration, though. It's good inspiration. Yeah.
But yeah, they basically you get all the producers there. They buy all the records in Reedy's, all the donk tunes and stuff. And I used to love going in Reedy's. But yeah, they go halfway up the stairs and go like, "What's Kenny doing?"
Yeah, keep an eye out for it. Excellent. I like that. So so you built this studio. And what's the sort of aim with it then? What you're doing? Right,
my ultimate aim. Personally, I've got loads of aims. Bear in mind there's a second room in there as well, and potentially a third room in a partition. At the moment, I'm making a living from selling records on commission, and what I'm doing is basically, instead of like people going into a record shop and getting like 10p for the records or whatever, what I'm doing is I'm taking them on sale or return kind of thing, like a basis, but on like a commission basis. I'll house them, list them.
That's good. I like that.
And basically, I take 50% cut. And what I do is also included in the cut is posting and getting stuff away. And like my idea, my philosophy really is, if I've got 5 record collections together on that kind of basis, it's easier to sell logistically 5 record collections together on Discogs and get the actual money
makes
you
sense.
get, rather than actually just going in vinyl exchange or I don't mean to be disrespectful to vinyl X, but or to anybody that are buying a collection for you, and you get absolutely nothing. Do you know what I mean? And I get my drink on that, and that's it. That's
excellent. I like the idea behind it. There's definitely a gap in the market now.
There's that. Basically, we're going to turn the back room into a podcasting area.
Oh, excellent! I like
it. Basically, we're going to look at doing things for Northern Rave scene, which I got involved in.
We'll get into that
when I moved in, here. Yeah. And in the main room, we're looking at running a 24/7 dance radio station.
Oh wow! I like that as well. Big plans, eh?
Yeah, we've got massive plans. It's going to take time.
Yeah.
But, we've got the ball rolling. I don't think I've ever been this more productive in my life. I'm well known for sort of like working really, really hard. But I've had sort of like 5 years off.
Yeah.
5 years where I've kind of like not really. I think COVID had a lot to do with it, and
Yeah. Well, I'll be honest with you. I was quite shocked of how quickly your tunes, your turnover on tunes are. If you decide you want to do a tune, you can get it done in like an afternoon.
I know straight less than an afternoon. If I've got an idea, I could do 4 tracks in a day quite easily. I know exactly how things build, and it's not rocket science. Do you know what I mean? But down here, what I really, really want to start working on, like my absolute ambition in life, is I want to create. I want to start producing sort of like indie, stroke rock, stroke possibly metal, stroke possibly rap acts.
Okay.
Really, I want to start a label where I just find talent and just do really, really weird.
Just work with them and
Not weird, but like just like great new music.
Yeah.
Very similar to there was a label that I was really into years ago called Mowax,
right.
run by a guy called James Lavelle, and like Mowax, they are quite well known for just crossing all the genres of music. I'm really into an artist called Self Esteem,
Right.
and that kind of like changed my direction. In fact, I've got her album signed behind me in the studio, and like I heard a record called what's it called now? Look up, look back. It's a brilliant record. I do this.
So where's she from?
I do this
Sorry?
all the time. Sheffield.
Oh wow. Right.
And she used to be in an indie band years and years ago, and like went solo. And I heard that record. It just changed my life completely. And I just thought, do you know what? This is where you want to be, and I want to get bands in this studio recording and making really, really crossover music that is different, that is completely original, that's exactly the opposite of Boy Raver, which is like Boy Raver is like take an a cappella, get a piano in, chuck it in, and I sound really passionless, like in saying that, but actually no, there's a lot of passion in Boy Raver, but that's my absolute goal in life, to start a record label and start recording bands here and putting musicians together.
Yeah. I don't think it comes across as passionless. I think it's because you're excited about one venture, and it's like you've done this for X amount of years and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? It's like I don't think it's passionless. I just think it's you're that creative that it's this direction and this direction, and there's just so many different avenues to go down. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So are you engineering for anybody? Are you offering engineering services out?
I might as well be frank. Actually, I'm quite open to ghost mixing tracks that sound similar to Boy Raver. I do have to pay the rent, there's no shame in that. But as well, like I said, what I tend to do with that kind of thing is I prefer, rather than that, somebody book me out for a day's production, and I'm quite really reasonable rate actually. And I actually teach them whilst I'm doing it, which is actually very similar to a guy called Nick Hussey, who sort of taught me a lot of stuff. What I do, rather than, like, so years ago when I couldn't use software, I've always been able to sort of like play instruments and stuff. Yeah. But rather than do that, Nick would actually show me, and he'd explain everything that he was doing to me. Doing for me. And I would learn from that.
I think a lot of engineers like to hide the secrets because it keeps their revenue going, doesn't it? Like
honestly, fuck them. Do you know what I mean? That kind of thing, that kind of attitude is the reason that we've not got real musicians and real producers. Do you know something? I'd rather if it was the slightest secret that I gave away in the studio. And that person goes on and has a massive dance tune that I go and play then in a club, I'd be shouting from the rooftops.
Yeah, class. I like it. But as I say, a lot of people would, like, if you come down to it, it's like, right, well, they've got this customer once a month. They know they're going to get they're going to produce one tune for them a month. Why tell them the secrets when they can keep earning from it? At the same time, I think there's no problem with going in with somebody, like yourself, come in, watch how you make the tune, and then from there you'll be able to, right, I'll pick this up. Oh, so that's how you process a kick drum.
It's similar to it's a biblical quote, isn't it? what is it? Give a man a fish.
Oh yeah.
It's that kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, do you know what? If you're nice to people and you teach people and inspire people, do you know what? They'll inspire other people. They'll say, "Go to Shaun." Do you know what I mean? And that's my attitude. That's my, why should you hold back music and musicians?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Get the best out of them.
Right, I want to sort of cycle back as well, if that's all right.
Yep.
We didn't really cover this last time, but I want to talk about where the sort of boy Raver thing come from and what was the idea behind it.
Right, boy Raver. Right.
And the name as well. Where did that?
Right. Can I start off by saying Boy Raver was originally Boy Ravers.
Okay. Right.
And it was an offshoot of Trick Babies, which was me and Si Edwards.
Okay.
Me and Si Edwards had a fallout in, I think it was about 2000. In fact, we're on 12 years of Boy Raver now. We had a fallout over a track. Got to choose my words here because I'm really good mates with Si now.
Yeah.
And like I'm really proud of Si and what he's doing. So I don't want him to think I'm being in any way sort of like negative.
Oh no, it's just the past, isn't it?
But we had a fallout back then over something, and like we did one track as an offshoot of Trick Babies called Boy Ravers,
right?
And we did a remix of Seek Bromance, which was the Avicii and. Is it Amanda Wilson or something? Amanda.
Seek Bromance. It was when he was using the Tim Berg alias, wasn't it?
Yeah, Tim Berg. It was that, and we did a rework of that, which ends up on Boy Raver Volume 1, the album there. Yeah. We did that, and it was all right. And then we did a couple more, and then we had this sort of fallout, and then we sort of made up. And we'd already sort of been sort of like rocky anyway for the last few months. Before that, and he had an opportunity to go and work with the likes of Will I Am and you know, that kind of thing, and there was a possibility I could have gone, and it just wasn't for me, and I wasn't enjoying that kind of music. So me and Si split as Trick Babies. And what I ended up doing was I couldn't stand like Nicki Minaj and all that kind of stuff. It was just horrible music. And he was doing the visual side of that kind of thing, which is absolutely fine if you're doing the visuals. This horrible music. And I thought, do you know what? I'm sick of playing this fucking shit. And I thought, do you know what? If I've got to play this absolute garbage fucking shite like LMFAO and that kind of stuff. Let's remix it the way that you want to do. But also as well, there was a hunger because I kind of missed out on being a producer in the mid-90s when it was all the music that I wanted to make and never came out. And I thought, do you know something? Hybrid, and sort of take what you wanted to do and fuse it with
what's popular
now. And it just sort of took off. It and that was it.
What was the first tune with that ethos then?
That was the Seek Bromance thing, which is there, and it's like a horrible. I listen back to it; it's embarrassing. It's just like rave stabs and all sorts. But I mean, the what I started doing was developing Boy Raver from that, and I remember the first sort of time that I thought stop remixing stuff and do your own stuff was I did No Good For Me, which if you listen to that track No Good For Me, which I'll get it up now, right, I made it and there's not a single bar in the whole track that is the same.
What do you mean by that then?
Basically, the whole piano is completely unique. There's not a single bar
I see what
in the whole thing, and it's like I'll only play a clip, but if you listen back to Boy Raver No Good For Me, it's like, and it's influenced by the Italian stuff, and this is like a guy called Savaro Lombardoni who ran Disco Magic that I eventually sort of signed to. That's when I started taking Boy Raver seriously and thinking stop remixing. And
it reminds me of like I wouldn't say it's quite jazzy, but like it's very avant-garde type
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
just play around with it. It reminds me of, do you know the Prodigy, Your Love?
Yeah. Which I've actually got Your Love there on the CD single.
Oh, yeah,
on
yeah.
the wall.
On the class tune. Well, the original, was it the original mix that they did, I believe, and it's got the bridge in the middle with the piano, and it's just that it's just very similar to that. If you get me, do you know what I mean? It's not
Liam Howlett's a fantastic musician, and a
yeah.
brilliant producer.
Yeah, obviously he must be an inspiration if he's on the walls. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
no, absolutely. Like I said, the whole wall is just full of inspirational stuff, and like I said, I've got Bizarre Ink on the wall, bass airs, Lisa, Alternate,
Does all
LFO,
sorts of, yeah.
Source. You know,
Fantastic.
FBI projects as well, who I've just remixed officially.
So you got the Boy Raver album done. Was that what was the idea behind it? Were you just going to a compilation of?
What happened is I started producing my own stuff properly.
Yeah.
Like I produced for ages. I produced for a good 5 years and not really remixed stuff. Like we done Tell the DJ in a boat called Noah as Trick Babies, which I'd done myself. And it wasn't, it was all right, but. I was working at a DJ shop in Manchester called Reflex,
Right.
Later to be Soundbase Megastore.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened is my boss and my friend Andy Cleek heard what I was doing, and he said, "I'll make 20 tracks. I'll put them out on a CD," and that's what I did. And then we did 3 albums.
Excellent. I've actually got. I think I've got 2 and 3. To be honest with you, I think you've.
There's no copies anywhere of Volume 1. It's on Discogs now,
Right.
and they've not had a copy for about 3 years.
Right.
I've only got 1 copy. I've only got that copy there.
Well, I've got 2 and 3 and all that because I've had them.
I prefer number 3, mate. But there's a ridiculous amount of copies. If you go on Void Records, if you want a copy of Volume 3, I don't profit from that. Andy Cleek does. I think he, deserves it. I mean, Andy is one of those people that's had so much faith in me.
Yeah.
And it's weird how me and Andy sort of gelled in the end and became, we worked together and become mates. And I got stranded in Ibiza in 2000. I'd already known Andy years and years ago, from when I was DJing. And Andy was running the Garland's boat parties in Ibiza, and I got stranded in Ibiza.
Right.
And I'm at a point where I'm looking at sleeping on the beach and wondering how the fuck I get home.
Yeah.
And then Andy Cleek just turns up with his brother Anthony and says, "Oh, I'll just stay at mine." And literally we got talking, and before I knew it, he said, "Oh, there's a job." I'd just been made redundant as a school teacher. He said, "Oh, there's a job going at a record shop. Do you want it?"
Yeah.
I'm like, I was in work on Monday morning.
That's good. I like that.
And we carried on working, off and on. Carried on working, but it's one of the best working relationships I've certainly ever had.
So I believe in 2015, I think you ran the Exposure event. You booked me for that.
Right, Exposure, by the way. Mm-hmm. God, you could do an whole episode on Exposure. Yeah. Exposure, by the way, was exactly 10 years ago. Yeah. I know where you're coming from, by the way. Yeah. Exposure started exactly 10 years ago on the 29th of November 2013.
Yeah.
But you played on mine.
2015, I think it was. Yeah.
Which was... Tell you what, Exposure... where do I go from? Lisa was involved in Exposure.
So what was it? Where did you start from there? Like you said, so it was in 2013. What was the idea behind it?
Right. I can't tell you the full idea.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Mm-hmm. There's a very good reason I can't tell you the full reason.
Okay.
What I will say is we needed to make a lot of money very quickly.
Yeah.
And Bowlers, we got a link in Bowlers, and basically it was like a 10 grand deposit.
Yeah.
And I've got to really choose my words here. 10 grand deposit, and we tried to book a load of DJs.
Yeah.
The big DJs. None of them had play. And I, being very sarcastic person that I am, I noticed at the time there was another venue in Manchester, and what they were doing was a pay-to-play scheme.
Oh, yeah, I remember
Yes.
that. Yeah.
Yes. So I thought, do you know something? If we're going to do that, why not put on the biggest pay-to-play undiscovered talent event going, and actually do it properly and give people exposure. And that's how exposure actually came about. And we shouldn't have done another, and we shouldn't have done the third, actually, to be fair, because we didn't make a penny off of any of them. And there's honestly, it will appear in a book at some point what actually happened with exposure. I can't tell you fully.
Okay, that's fine.
It will appear in a book at some point, either by me or by Andy Cleek,
Right.
or by possibly Simon Calderley from
Right.
Bowlers. So there's only so much I can tell you.
That's fine. That's no problem. I mean, this goes out on the internet, so you've got to be careful what you say.
It's absolutely.
All I'll say is thank you for the opportunity. Got to play that ball.
No,
once.
it's
It
brilliant.
was-
You
it
were
was
in the
great.
bounce room, weren't you?
Yeah.
You're in. I love playing bowlers, and I love it. I love what Andy's done with bowlers. It's amazing, and it's the future. I love what he's done, like more with the conventions and.
Well, you were saying to me about last time we were on. So obviously they do the Star Wars convention and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they would do it. You said they did in the Curry Festival, and it was
Yeah,
like you were
and-
DJing at the Curry Festival.
Honestly, my favourite is the Cigar Festival.
Yeah.
Which I absolutely love, and there's a documentary that I made for Andy that's on YouTube, which is The Great Northern Scar. I think it's called Scarred for Life, I think I called it, which is a dodgy title, where I got to interview like Dawn Penn and like Neville Staple from the specials, and Pauline Black from the Selector, who was probably the worst interview. Honestly, she was an absolute nightmare. I couldn't say, she was so arrogant. I mean, I've interviewed, Kylie, people like that that actually are, really, really
Like,
big stars.
megastars,
And she's the most arrogant person I've ever dealt with.
Because some people think that their level is the highest level, mate. That's what it is.
It's at the end of the day, she was Sue's mate on the Sutty show. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, I could have stuck the knife in, but but there's no need to actually treat people as journalists like that. Do you know what I mean? And she just spoke to me like I was a piece of shit.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
So you did the exposure things. What other sort of events? Because you were doing, was it the bounce back as well?
Right. Well, what happened? Right. Really, with Darley. I mean, I never got. I was never a big fan of promoting. I'm not a particularly good promoter. I'm not really into that kind of thing, really, unless I sort of see something that's a bit different and and do
It's
it
not
that
just
way.
another club night sort of
But
thing.
basically, Darley Lounge Friday night, we couldn't fill the club. Right, it was dead, and I thought, what I've been doing on Saturday nights, because I used to do Fridays and Saturday nights at Darley Lounge, and Saturdays were rammed. And what I started doing towards the end of the night, I was starting to go into like old school donk stuff, and then I'd even got to a point where I started making my own under the pseudonym Smack Rat, which was SMKR and then the @ symbol from a keyboard.
Yeah.
Like literally, it was almost sarcastic to start with, and then I started carrying on playing all these old sort of like bounce tunes. And we're going back again, like long before like sort of like the bounce scene kind of like came back. And I noticed on Saturday night there's like a proper hunger for it, and we were doing really, really well at the end of the night. I thought, do you know what, Friday nights, well, I'll do something called bounce back, and then battery's running low. But I started doing that. I just thought, why don't you actually turn it into a night? And I got like like Mikey B and Ben T down, and Pete Monsoon, who lives down the road actually. Pete lives down the road. We've got buddy Kenny Hayes played, absolutely everyone that I could get. Rob Kane was my resident, who's best DJ in the world, in my opinion.
I wouldn't disagree, mate. I wouldn't.
Absolutely the best DJ in the world, Rob Kane. And that it worked for a while, and then obviously sort of like other bounce nights took over, and like I said, it kind of dipped off, and which I was expecting. But other than that, I mean, I've done the odd nights here and there, but I'm not massively into club promotion. It's just not my thing. I don't really like being. I don't particularly like standing on the street, bloody trying to get people in clubs and stuff like that. I'd rather be on the decks and actually do it. I've always been a resident DJ.
It's two different skills, isn't it?
Yeah.
Altogether, yeah.
Yeah, I've always been a resident DJ. I've always been somebody that likes to start from, literally go start to finish and do like long sets, and I've done anything up to like 14 hours, and
yeah, that's mad.
It's
you say that, but then you started doing the Northern Rave scene events, and something really caught my eye about them. It was like limited capacity, and it was interesting.
Basically, it's half a mile up the road from the studio. What happened? Like I said, I moved back here. Would have been nearly 2 years ago now, and I lived here, many years ago. And then moved to Ashton under Lyne because I'd settled with my partner there, and I've got a DJ residency and stuff. And I was there for like 20 years, sold the house, and things weren't great for me mentally. And I thought, I'll move back home. I'll move back here, and I met one night. It was Easter Thursday, right? And I was in our only decent pub.
Okay.
Bear in mind, like I said, it's a very small village, and I meet Hannah Timmons, who is basically sort of like runs sort of like PR and things like that. Basically, social media is her sort of thing. And we get talking one night, and it's Easter Thursday, and literally it's like chucking out time at the pub. And she says, "Oh, there's a guy here that you really need to meet. It's called Andy Rawson, Andy DJ Lippy." Who is the most talented person I've ever met in my life.
Is that good?
Yes, absolutely. It was fate. Basically, it turns out Andy he's actually a farrier, Andy.
I don't even know what that is, man. That's not my vocabulary.
Like long and short, shoes horses.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
Basically, like a farrier, and he's got a unit that's massive. And what he did is turn the side part into a small little space for us to have little mini raves.
Yeah.
And I got on board, met Andy, get on really, really well, and we now produce together as Northern Rave Scene, and it's brilliant. And Andy gets I get on board with Andy, and we start building this movement between us all. And it turns out, from 2 or 3 people into house music in this little tiny village. Yeah. Turns out Stu, the barber upstairs, is also a DJ.
Yeah.
Turns out bloody Ben Miller, Hannah's partner, is also a DJ.
Yeah.
We got Terry, who's also a DJ, and also in this small, tiny little village that probably holds what less than 1,000 people. There's like 20 of us.
Right.
And we started Northern Rave Scene.
Excellent.
What are the odds on that actually happening?
Yeah. Just goes to show, like, how passionate people are about music and stuff like that, though. You know what I mean?
It is. So what we've done, we've completely built this club from scratch. We've all been there night after night. Actually, doing the renovations and like I said, we've got so many plans for Northern Rave Scene now, which involves like a radio station app, podcasting. Studio stuff, everything. We've got it's limitless, really. I mean, it's really kick-started my ambition. I've got it's taken me a long time to get my sort of like passion for life back and stuff, and it's just brilliant.
Excellent, I love it. I love that. So, what sort of? Because obviously you've run an event already, because you had Rob down, didn't you, for an event? So what's the design of it? Is it like it's intimate, small, and?
Well, it's tiny. Literally, we're sort of like 8-125, and actually quickly. In fact, I could probably show you this on Facebook now. In fact, I shouldn't really show Facebook because of data protection, but we kind of our plan really at the moment is to build a club and the ultimate DJ booth, and we've just spent an absolute fortune on lighting to make it look like a mini Las Vegas.
I like it.
I'd actually show you a clip now, but let's say
I'll have a look online.
If you go on our Instagram, we're going to be posting it anyway. So
excellent. And then 80 to 125. Did you say?
Yep.
I think that's a good
intimate. Kind of like my idea was like Boiler Room meets Emmerdale.
Meets Emmerdale. Random, but yeah, alright then. I can roll with that.
That's our thing, and to be fair as well, there's a lot of hotels around here.
Yeah.
So there's like the Moat House where you can stay for like I think it's about £70 a night, and it's a really nice place, and you know what I mean. And that was kind of our idea, but we actually only open 14 nights a year.
Right.
At the moment, we were going to go for a full-time license, but there's no sense in doing that. I'd rather keep it a bit more exclusive.
Well, people come for an experience, mate. That's what it is. I think you were saying about hotels and that being there. I think it would be very good if you did 14 nights a year and you made them special, where people will come from out of town and it becomes an experience. I don't know if that's financially doable or not, but it's an idea.
I mean, my sort of concept is to do things that are unique. That you can't get anywhere else, and maybe theme nights that we do. I mean, like say, concentrate on the music side. The radio side would be sort of standardised, but actually just do mad things like Kevin and Perry theme.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That kind. I've always been into like theme nights. You know what I mean? And doing things. Sort of like, you know, without breaking the bank. Sort of like I've always been into like, you know, bear in mind, like. I played for Garlands on the boats and stuff, and like I've always liked the idea when I used to go watch Dave Booth, my late mate, Dave Booth, in Garlands, and I used to pick him up from there, and I'd go in there for 2 hours, and like you walk in and there's someone dressed as a tin of spam, and I always like that, and like the whole just.
You remember it, don't you? It does say it's more of an experience than it is a night out.
Yep.
Do you know? Does that make sense? Like, I like these ones where I've seen a couple of them kicking around, but like the advertisers like weekenders, but it's essentially some promoters hired out a mansion in the lakes, for instance. There's like 60 people max.
Yep.
You turn up and it's a weekend, and it is only 60 people. It's not. You're not like. It's not massively. Like it's not like a festival or anything, but just 60 people having a good time, and it's an experience. And if you were there, you were there. That's it. If you weren't there, you missed out. Do you know what I mean? And I've seen a couple of them kicking around.
Well, I mean that's our slogan actually. Like you see Northern Rave scene on the wall, which it's you like I said you had to be there.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
you know. That's our thing. That's our slogan.
It gives off a very, very old school vibe. Like it's like 90s. Yeah. That's it, isn't it? It's like almost like a phone call. Where's this Raver? Right, we'll go there, and it's just if you were there, you experienced it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying there's no mobiles or anything like that, but it would be more intimate and you're just present with the people.
We ban mobile. We actually ban phones.
So that's what I mean. Yeah. It's more intimate, and
you have to turn your phone on. If you caught with your phone, it gets thrown in the river.
I like that.
We've not had to do that yet, but
yeah, I like that. But it's something that's different, and it's. I think I've seen a lot of promoters try and go for this no phones policy and make it feel authentic. You see people have a better night out when they're not worried about someone secretly recording them, or they're not stuck into the phone themselves.
Do you know what? That's a really good point you made there. It's like like I said again. Do you know? Like I said, I hate the whole idea where you kind of like you go for a night out. You kind of want to lose your inhibitions and but you can't anymore because you're worried somebody's going to like go and.
You become a viral clip. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, that's what it is.
I've never thought of it that way actually.
Yeah, like I've seen mad things in the past, but it's always stuff that you're always worried like, oh, I hope someone's not recorded that because, like, they're obviously the person who's done it's obviously going to be a bit offended by that they've been recorded, and as well they're only having a good time.
Yeah.
As long as they're not a bit like incriminating, it's fine.
Problem is though, like I said, that kind of thing can ruin somebody's life. It's it's horrible actually to an extent. Like I said, there's a difference. I mean, like I said, something that bugs me in life at the moment is the term banter, and people confuse banter with
being a cunt.
Basically, yeah, absolutely.
I knew you wanted to say it, but
between like I said, people, and there's so many people like that, and it's a horrible.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
You see a lot of it. I don't think it's as present in the music scene as maybe it once was.
Yeah.
But I get it. Yeah. It seems to be a lot in like workplaces and a lot of like blue collar type things. I could go into a story, but I'm not going to because I'll be in trouble. But I'll tell you off the pod. Anyways, I want to get into your radio days. I've noticed you're a good talker.
Can I get a quick break?
Yeah, that's no problem.
You can give me like 2 minutes and you can do your ad.
We'll be back in 2 minutes.